Dawn of War 4 wants to revitalize the RTS genre. And while that is a bold, ambitious, and certainly optimistic mission, while I can't say it will, I can at least tell you one thing, and that it is one damn good RTS.
We are the wrath of the Emperor, his angels of death.
I played about an hour of Dawn of War 4, and I got 4 major takeaways. Number 1, single-player campaigns. Now don't worry, it's got its multiplayer, it's got its skirmishes. It also has co-op, so you can do the campaigns in co-op, and it also has branching narrative paths. Number 2, it's got 4 factions, and yes, one of them are the Necrons. To those of you know who that matters, which I'm sure everyone, me included, that's cool. Number 3, John French. If you know Warhammer and if you've read the books, you know that John French has got his fingerprints on a lot of those because he was the writer for a lot of them. And he's working very closely with the team of Dawn of War 4 to make this the extra special narrative juicy thing that, you know, Henry Cavill loves so much. And number 4, they specifically said that they want this to be a modernized version of Dawn of War 1. And I can attest that it most certainly is. For my hour of hands-on time with Dawn of War 4, they had me play one single-player mission. And of course, this was by the oh so famous and cool Space Marines. Go figure. I would have preferred, you know, Necrons, but that's all right. In fact, while I'm on that topic, every single faction will have its own standalone campaign, each one having branching paths that kind of determine you siding with certain people, certain things, doing certain jazz. And I find that to be a really fascinating choice, especially because, you know, I don't feel like single-player campaigns don't really get all the attention and love that RTSs deserve. And hearing that developer King Art Games is kind of focusing on trying to like live up to the legacy, not of just Warhammer, but of the genre, it's just good to hear that they understand that players don't just want to be behind their keyboards fighting people around the world. They want a narrative. Now, with that said, I didn't really get an idea of what the story was or where the campaign would be taking me, but it's safe to assume the Space Marines and the Orcs, they don't get along. In fact, that was who I was fighting in my single-player campaign mission. In this mission, it was fairly basic, mostly tutorial sort of style mission. It was to teach the player how to build bases, because building bases is a big part of this. Get your units together and take over the nodes that are around the map so you can then start getting resources and then start making more, you know, more dudes, more machine guys, and get them over to the next side to take out the Orcs. Probably the most impressive thing about this was they said they wanted to make a modernized version of Dawn of War 1, and this is it. It was a very intuitive, instinctual sort of experience playing this game. It was just like, even though it's been a while since we've had like a really full-fledged sort of AAA RTS game that like really is, you know, especially one that is, I don't know, like one of the best of the genre, it felt amazing. I felt right at home. I knew exactly what I was doing. Even though they had new hotkeys and like new control layouts that differed from the original Dawn of War 1, I never really skipped a beat. All I had to know was like WSAD moves your camera, and then right next to that is all the special abilities that your units and captain men have, whatever they're called. Look, zoom in on me. I'm not a Warhammer expert, all right? I'm just doing my best. I play the games. I like the games. I like the Necrons, all right? Just know that even though I'm not an expert in Warhammer, this was a good game. I had a good time. So that means if you're not a Warhammer expert, you should know that you're gonna have a good time. All right, zoom back out. While the game didn't seem like it was completely reinventing the wheel, instead it felt like they were tripling down on just trying to make sure the core identity of an RTS, the core identity of Dawn of War, was there and refined. And that was kind of a testament to the studio's kind of focus on just wanting to make a good RTS. The fact that I don't have anything like revolutionary to speak about is actually a good sign. It just should feel like a good RTS, which we haven't had, you know, like a really polished, focused one, at least in my day, for a while. So about the factions, during the presentation before I play the game, the developers made sure to say that adding Necrons to this game was almost like them trying to fix a wrong with Dawn of War 3. Now, for those of you who are familiar, it was hinted or kind of teased that the Necrons would be a playable faction eventually in Dawn of War 3, and yet it never happened. So this is them kind of, you know, making amends and being like, hey, Kurt, remember that one model set you bought of Necrons? This is for you, buddy, old pal. Anyways, the other faction they're adding, though, is one that has never been seen in a Dawn of War game, which is the Adeptus Mechanics. And for them, this was like a really cool kind of moment to include a not as known faction, but also a faction that operates quite differently from the other factions, because for them, they kind of view technology as its own religion. So therefore, they're not like the buff go-getter Space Marine dudes or the brute force scary orcs or, you know, the really cool Necrons. Yeah. It's a different flavor of it. But unfortunately, I didn't get to see it, but just the addition of it feels exciting. All in all, King Art Games is new to this franchise, with Iron Harvest kind of being their breakthrough hit and the very game that kind of got the attention of Games Workshop, which, you know, they approached to try and make this game. So they got John French to help out, and they have a background in narrative, they have a background in campaigns, they have a background in making a really good RTS game, and all of these things are kind of aligning in what kind of needs to happen for the Dawn of War series after Dawn of War 3. They also made a really interesting point that the Dawn of War franchise really doesn't have a blueprint, because 1 and 2 are drastically different from one another. The first one being a traditional RTS, and the second one being more of like a squad sort of shindig and dance. But it's just good that they are being considerate, not just about honing in on making a good Warhammer game, but just making a good RTS. And I'm excited about that. So, with all that said, games have come a long way since Pac-Man.